Hello friends, welcome to Folk Beats. I'm your host Aimon Fatima. Friends, today we will explore the romantic land of Sindh that has produced mesmerizing forms of music and musical instruments. And who's a better person to guide us through the valleys of Sindh than the famous researcher Mr. Nas Seto, who's currently working as the Chief Bureau of KTN Network. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for especially coming from Hyderabad to Islamabad.
Yeah,
It's great having you here.
thank you very much for inviting here. It is a pleasure, it's an honor.
Okay, Nasab, you have recently worked as a main researcher of this documentary on the life of Sanam Marvi, and you have been working in the field of media, especially related to TV and music, for a long time. We are particularly interested in Sindhi music.
Okay.
And let's say I do not know anything about Sindh because I've rarely visited that part.
But I think you know the sense and spirit of the Sindh, which is very beautiful land and which is a land of romance and folk stories. Since music is as ancient as is the history of the Sindh, if we go in the past of the Sindhi music, we will have some traces. Though this is not documented in formal ways, but the most prominent evidence we have found in process of history is the excavation of Mohenjo-daro.
Yes.
We have found two major things which indicate that there was a music and a popular trend. Though we could not discover any weapon from Mohenjo-daro, it means they were peaceful people.
But we found that statue of Dancing Girl and Burendo.
Yes, I was coming on that point, but we found Dancing Girl and a Bodindo. Dancing Girls it means there was the concept of dance, and it was, eulogized and appreciated by community or that civilization. So, even their statues, statues are made of those who are celebrated. So it indicates that dancing girls were celebrated, they were eulogized, appreciated. But when there is dance, it means there was a concept of beat. One cannot dance without beat.
Yeah.
It was concept of beat. It is basic of music. Every music needs some beat. Rhythm, or we call it tal. And the other thing which we mentioned here is Bodindo. It is a small clay pot instrument. It is, we can say it, the mother or grandmother of all the instruments who are played through, like flute, like shehnai, like saxophone and modern things. Initially, Bodindo was having 3 holes. It creates melody. When rhythm creates, when tabla and all these things dance requires beat, it also requires a pitch of melody, and melody is created by that Bodindo.
Yeah.
And Bodindo is, as we mentioned, that it is made from clay, and it is 3 holes initially. But now, through the process, it has developed in complete instrument. 40 years ago, there was a concept, even 20 years ago, it was a concept that Bodindo cannot be played as in a musical orchestra, where there are drums, harmoniums, keyboards and things. Bodindo cannot be played. But now, our living legend and artist Zulfikar Lund has made this breakthrough by inventing 7 holes in it, and by playing 7 surs, we called the shops of the music. So now it is complete instrument. So we have traces in history that even in ancient civilization of Indus Valley, there was a music. Music was an essential part of our life, and music. If there is a music, then comes the question: only musical instruments? No, we have evidence, and we have historical, material available, that these songs were played, so they were somehow, they maybe had not been written, but there were people who created lyrics and they were performed by artists. So it has a great history.
So when we listen to Sindhi music, it's very different and unique in its essence. What are the different genres of Sindhi music?
That's great. In music, there are some things, but genres are created in music by two themes. One is musical themes. Sindh has its own music. As people say that this is Hindi Shuddh classical music, but Sindh has its own music. They have its own ragas, and in living period, if you go in subcontinent, you will find that there is a raga Desa, Des.
Okay.
But
is it connected to the concept of homeland or country?
It's in subcontinent. Its concept is with homeland. It is subcontinent's concept, Indian concept. Commonly we know, but the same raga is with some different. We call it in Sorat. Sorat was a queen, and her husband was, of course, king Rai Diach, and entire human history. This is the single incident where a king gave his head by cutting himself to a musician. That was Bijal, the most celebrated musician of Sindh history. At that time, Sindh was geographically not so small that it is today. It was from Indus Valley, we call. So in state of Rajasthan, these parts are now Rajasthan. There was a Rai Diach, and he was very fond, and he respect music. He used to respect music and musicians and these things. So there was a scuffle with comparison to another king. So king hired a musician, that was Bijal, and because the opponent king has received so many defeats from Rai Diach, so he played a trick. He hired a musician and he went there. He played Surando. King Diach was very fond of music, so he summoned that musician in Darbar and asked him, what do you want? He offered some elephants and horses as price, but he refused to take them, and he said, king said, what do you want in price? He said, are you committed? What I will demand, you will give me? Yes, he said, yes, I'll give. Then he demanded his head because he was on, he was having an agenda from opponent king.
Okay.
So after some period, he succumbed, and this is the single incident where people have given their head on the music. So he gave his head. And Shah Latif has written, Shah Latif, Shah Latif Beta is guide of Sindh, and not for Sindh, but he is universally recognized a poet of caliber. So he has written an entire chapter, Bab, Sur, on that incident that is called Sorat. Sorat is name of the queen, and that's why in Sindhi society you can find this name everywhere. Even we take pride by naming our daughters and Sorat. So this is how music is in our society.
Yeah. This instrument Sorendo, is this a string instrument or?
Yeah, this is a string instrument. It has different shapes in Balochistan. You can see it like saros, and this is initially it was made through a skeleton of animals. skins of animals, but now it is built by strings, and it now in living period, Muhammad Hassan from Mirpur Bathoro is a great suranda player. Even in Gaji Shah, there are some other traditions. Gaji Shah is in a hilly area. He was a commander, but we call him Gaji Shah. People with their own beliefs go there. Especially illiterate people use this surando when some female get problems. They call that they are under the control of jinn. So the surando is played and the jinn comes out.
Jinn comes out.
Yeah.
That's a very magical story.
Sorry.
Yeah. So coming back to Sorat and Sai Bhirsha, 7 queens of Bhirsha are very famous, and we hear that in Sindhi's mythical stories, folklores, as well as Sindhi music, especially in the tales of Sai Bhirsha, women have the central position in music as well as stories.
Shah Latif has written in Shahjo Risalo, it has 30 plus chapters or surahs. 7 heroines are female. There's only 1 2 male heroes we can call, but they are not declared heroes. So, and Bhitai, even himself, when he expresses himself, he uses his expression as a female. He himself, Adium Abdul Latif Chavi. He says to sisters, oh my sisters, Abdul Latif says.
And why is that? Why are women the central character of all these stories?
Because Bhitai has given some different things. You know, Bhitai was, it was a challenge to status quo. Bhitai was from a Sayyid family. He was a Sajjada Nasheen. Okay. He was from privileged people, but his all characters are from working classes, from oppressed class, marginalized peoples. So women, Bhitai in his poetry has symbolized the empowerment of women. That's why that he was against the status quo. You know, Sunni was a married lady having relationship with another man who is Mehar. But Bhitai, and in our traditions, we now have been facing problem of Karokari. But Bhitai has made it heroine because her marriage was not solemnized with her consent with them. So her will was with Mayar. So Bhitai has sang her and he made her a queen. So he was challenging the status quo. And Bhitai's musical tradition is, I think, there is no other such an ancient musical institution in this part of the world as Bhitai's rag is. More than 3 centuries have passed, but there has not a single night has passed when music have not been played at Bhitai's shrine. This is a great musical institution. We call it Shahjo Rag. You have seen them. They usually wear black tires, sit on the floor of shrine, and there is a system. At what time, what chapters from Bhitai's poetry has to be sung. There is a system. And formally now there is a music school of Shahjo Rag. Formally it is being taught. Batches are coming and young people are seeking. Now even scholars from various countries, one lady from Taiwan has come here and she's now at Bhirsha. She used to sing even Shahjo Rag there.
Really?
That's great.
That's beautiful.
And these shrines of saints and Sufis and Sindh have their own musical traditions. When you come to lower part of Sindh, as Bhitai is in the lower part of Sindh, you can watch or notice the calmness and soothing environment, calmness even in music and poetry. But as you travel in the north of Sindh, it is hot. Weather-wise, it is hot, and it has some different, environmental issues, people's behaviors. So in different in north part, you can find in shrine sung music. Sung is group music. One Sufi singer will lead, and 7-8 people will join him as a company, and they will sing jointly, and it will be on a fast beat. This modern rock beat cannot follow that beat. Sachal Sarmast is another entity in Sindhi poetry. He is a great saint. His message is Anal Haq, and his message is based on
love for all, love for
and,
entire universe.
So, there is a separate musical tradition there, and if you go to the shrine of Qadir Bakhsh Bedil, Mohsen Bekas, Budhal Fakir, Rakhel Shah, Chizal Shah, they have their own traditions, their own singers. People, you can find people, they are illiterate, totally illiterate. They even cannot write word alif.
But how do they remember?
But they remember
music?
The entire Risala. They can sing even one night, two night without.
And it's passed on through oral tradition.
Oral traditions. This is how they have been preserving their musical traditions, and they are, creating other batches of these singers. So Sohrab Fakir was pride of that our country. Even there is an institution in the name of Sohrab Fakir in Germany, Munich, Germany. People to come there and
so in Sindh we see that music is not only institutionalized and formalized as a scientific form of education itself, but it's also deeply engulfed within mysticism and religion.
Yeah.
And a normal norm these days is that it has become normal. It's not normal for me though, that we tend to separate culture from religion, but in Sindh it's considered a vital part of life. It's like breathing.
Bilkul, you are right, because Sindh is land of, if you go through the centuries history, Sindh is a land which has not attacked any country historically.
But it has been attacked.
It has been attacked. This is another. So there is always a message of peace. The people have been coming there and they have absorbed in their local community. So that's why that saints have in their poetry have the message of love, and music is close to hearts of the people. So music has been a message, a source of carrying message of the love. And tolerance, equality, respect for all faiths and religions. It is historical, asset of this land. So now we feel some threats because so many interventions have come here. But as you mentioned, that efforts are on to counter them. So now even formal institutions for music, art and other things are being created. You said about the not only in shrines, but in our homes, you can find there are in every society there are genres of music which are used in families. So are in Sindh. We have ladas, that these are marriage songs, saras. Okay. We have so number of songs, even various stages of marriage ceremony. When there is a groom, we are wearing sara on his head, there is another song. When there is a henna on being put on the hands of bride and or groom, there is another song. And for every step, even when baby is born, there is another song. Yeah. When baby is named, there is another song. So music is not an external thing. It is internalized thing in our own life.
There was this very interesting form of music that you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. This you know, there is music of various regions. I was referring to Doro. Doro is a poetic form and musical form practiced in Thar desert. You know, Thar is sandy dune. There are heavy dunes, and communication is recent phenomena. Otherwise, there was no even roads or some things.
But it's full of romance.
So it is full of romance, full of peacocks, full of natural beauty.
Yeah.
So there are some female songs. One is, Doro. Doro is the song of a daughter which sings before her marriage, and he puts some suggestions for his father and brother. Please bury me on a place and a family which must have a camel, because I have to travel to come to you.
Yeah.
So there we have seen my Bhagi and my Dhai is living legend who's now she also sings Doro. So there are some there are songs of crop harvesting. So it comes the song of Hamarcho. Hamarcho means Ham Rah Acho. Please come and join me.
Yeah.
So when they harvest the crop, there is a song. When it rains, there is an entire raga, and that is universally called in some Indian subcontinent it is called Malhar, raga Malhar, but we call it Sarang. Bhitai has written in a chapter of Sarang, which depicts which is song for rains. When people pray for rain, they pray through this rag sarang, and when it rains, people celebrate rain through this rag. So there are so many songs, so many popular musical items are composed in raga song, sarang. This is very guitar. And in Thar desert, we were referring. There is bhakti rag. This is a form of devotional songs which is practiced in Hindu temples. There are in Thar desert there is a huge population of Hindu believer population. They are part of our society. They are equal citizens of our society. So bhaktis and Mohan Bhagat we have been listening. There are so many archives of Mohan Bhagat in your library too. There is a form of another form of Khartal song. There is people used to make some musical instrument from wooden pieces, and they use it as musical instrument. There is a lok dastan. It has been storytelling, music storytelling like an opera. Okay. Some poetry, music, story, and all this.
With
these
the
things,
nar, the longer flute.
With some instruments. And they are typical instruments of every region. And if you go in Thar, you will see tali. Tali is a piece of iron divided into two pieces. They touch each other and they create music through it. This is music. There's dambura or tambura in Thar and rocky region, hilly area of Sindhi. In hilly area, there is a genre of Moro. Moro is the name of music form which animal grazers has created, and in rocky areas people have to go in to graze, to raise their animals in rocks. So they spend their times with this music. They play with dambura, and this is another form. So every region, their fisher folk people have their own songs. Bhitai has written another chapter on that life of a fisher folk people. There are two chapters.
Nuri
Jam Tamachi, there's romantic tale story, and another chapter is Ghatu. That is the story of Morlo Mirbar, the entire origin of the Karachi city. Karachi city was a village of Morlo Mirbar. He was, a special person from one leg. He has 6, other brothers. And Karachi, where there is a Morlo, graveyard also. At that place, there was a dangerous place in the sea. And there was a crocodile and some things. Crocodile, ate his 6 brothers. So this man, having a special disability with leg, created a structure of wooden structure, went deep in the sea and fight against that crocodile.
Okay.
So Bitayi has celebrated this symbolically. This is all about the life of the fishermen and these things.
Yeah.
So they have separate songs with music. So Sindh has colorful musical,
And are there accompanying dances too? With
Yeah,
the
they are. All these people have their own dances. Fishermen have their own dances. In Thar, you have seen that various dances.
The women join together in a circle to welcome their guests. There's a special type of dance.
Jummer, Chirmi, Jamalo, other songs are played on these dance songs. So there are various forms of dance also, and dance not restricted for male, but majorly for females. So this is part of
again, woman is the focal character of everything.
This thing. This is how, and we can see even in our plain lands there are other songs. For there are if there is cold weather, then there are other songs. Bitayi is written another chapter which is on Samundri. Vanjara means entrepreneurs who travel through seas to far-flung areas, and when they return, how their beloved wives and wait for those, and yes, and this is in other musical form. There is a musical form of this, chapter, another separate raga for this, and every shrine has its own musical traditions. Manthar Fakir Rajad is every shrine has somehow there must be a poet. There must be a poet in shrine culture. Manthar Fakir Rajad is 1 century ago's poet. It is in district Sangad. It is its own musical traditions, and in Ladkana there are so many other traditions. So in every corner, even in every city, you will find a small shrine and music-related traditions and musicians playing there.
Do these traditions have any symbolic meanings or interpretations linked to them?
Yeah, they have their own symbolic meanings. One major symbolic meaning is that people are friendly to music, one thing, and they carry the message of peace, tolerance, and love. So they don't discriminate. Even in musical circles, you can find there is a caste system in some Hindu people, but when it is music, they will mix up.
Are there separate families who play instruments or sing, or anybody can sing?
These are clans and sub-clans of these musical families, but they have their own traditions. Historically, Sindh has been patronizing public, common people of the Sindh has been patronizing musicians. This tradition is still under practice, that people have their Raj Banganhar. It means these Manganhar, these artists are for our clan. So when there is harvest cropping, when there is wheat cropping, at the end of the crop, people will go and send them 10 bags of wheat to these artists. On every 6 months, people feed them just to patronize the music and these traditions. So music is somehow has been part of our life through centuries. So this is how we patronize this music.
But Nasab, in a society that encourages music so much and patronizes it and considers it a vital part of their life, even in such a society, why are musicians marginalized, or why are they separated in different forms of clans?
That's one thing is that the clans matter is for identification.
Okay.
Clans matter, and marginalization with due process in recent our history, there has become some other interventions, religiosity, over-religiosity, extremism, these things are in conflict with this culture. So we are trying to overcome this situation, but this is a challenge which we do. But, and this is something is different. That's the other thing is that people from other tribes and other backgrounds have come also in the music. And in recent history, you can see that educated people with no background of musical artistic family are coming forward, organizing, mellow like Lahuti and these things, and promoting these things. So people.
Some Major has been working a lot.
Yeah. So this is how this music is being patronized on another level. It is fact that Banganahars were somehow marginalized, the artists were some marginalized at some areas and some exclusive corners, but situation is not changing. People having artistic background of Banganahar families and other families now are educated people. They have even double master's degrees. They are joining public sector, private sector with joining on high offices with 18 grade officers are singing now. There's no taboo. Even people from having no artistic background are allowing their girls to come forward and participate as musicians, as artists. We have seen, and now you must be glad that Culture Ministry of Sindh has announced to establish Sindh Institute of Performing Arts and Music in Jamshoro. So, Simpas, it will be launched somewhere in August, and there will be music classes, painting classes, different instrumental classes, and all these things. So this will be great encouragement for musical artists in this entire music world.
Let's watch a performance of Muhammad Yusuf.
किथां सिखे सिपरी किथां सिखे सिपरी तूं कासा यवारी कर तिखी काती हथ में तू मुडिया सा न मार चीरे चमनिहार जमे रती बना है रत जी हुस्न जी सरकार में हाकुम रहन हो साहिब सदा हुस्न जी सरकार में हाकुम रहन हो साहिब सदा ऐ मियां साहिब दिना हो ऐ मियां साहिब दिना दर दर गदायूं कीमत हो मन घुरे मुश्ताक सा हो मन घुरे मुश्ताक सा हो जियरी जुदायूं कीमत हो मन घुरे.
We talk about some instruments like burindo and chung as well. There's only one player who's playing burindo, and even there are like 5 to 10 chung players now. What should we do to revive these ancient forms or indigenous forms of music and genre of music?
There are so many ancient forms of musical instruments. Chung and borindo are some two things. Like we have algozo, we have nad, we have sharnai, we have nafil, we have nad, we have dagara. All these things. They are practicing in their own areas. some has some instrumentalists play on religious occasions, some instrumentalists play on harvesting occasions, some play on different. So there is a trouble in Bolindo. Bolindo's history is something mysterious. It was discovered, as 5,000 years back, but there is no history in between of playing Bolindo between last century and
So how do we explore that history?
Instrument was there, no one was trying. Mir Muhammad and Sahad Lund were the people who tried it and they started playing. Now this Zulfikar he's son of Mir Muhammad. So they are trying to activate. One thing is good that now we have seen Bolindos are even made at Bricklins houses and these things. So people are trying to learn it. So I think it will be practiced here. But Chung players are everywhere. Animal grazers, they will go and they will play Chung. So professional Chung players, even Chung is, Chung has been used in film composed music in Sindhi. Film music.
Can it produce 7 beats? Or?
Yeah. You go into YouTube and this is in film Chandro ki Changu Dil Jo Sajana Thi Vajaya. Lead instrument is Chung. Female is singing that I am playing Chung of my heart.
Okay.
So this entire song is there. So even these folk instruments have been played in musical and in filmy music in Sindh. Algoza has been played in film music, and there have been experiences to use these traditional songs with modern songs. Lahuti is doing something.
So you're hopeful that there are methods of preservation and dissemination, and instruments or genres of music are not on the verge of extinction?
I think there is a challenge. We have to accept this challenge, and there are some efforts in right directions are underway. So we will survive there. This instrument will survive there, and there is a huge hope, I think.
And how do you see the future of music in Sindh?
I think music is an integral part of Sindhi society, so it cannot go. I can tell you that 2 years back there was a huge attack on Sakhar. And it was the day when musical event was being conducted at Shrine of Sachal Sarmast. So administration decided not to conduct musical session. But people came there, they started music, thousands of people were there to start music. Even you saw when there was a blast in Shrine of Kalandar Lal Shabazz. Within 2 hours there was Dhamal. What is Dhamal? Dhamal is based on the Nagaras. So music is there in our life, from music, from traditional Sufi traditions to our marriage traditions to our celebrations. Music is part of our life, so it cannot be separated, it cannot be defeated in Sindh. Of course, there are challenges. We have to accept it. We have to make ways from them.
But hope is alive till music is alive.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to our studios.
Thank
it was
you.
Lovely talking to you.
It was nice to.
And I wish we were not short on time. We could prolong our conversation. I learned so much today.
Thank you, Aimon. This was wonderful to chat with you. Thank you.
Friends, before we close the show today, I'll play a chunk performance for you that was recorded in Lok Virsa Studios, and Ali Muhammad Ronjo is performing. Thank you so much for watching this show. Keep watching Folk Beats every Sunday on PTV World. Goodbye.